Perfect. It's up.
All right. Well, thank you for asking me to present. I am Bobby Cavins from Southern 7 Health Department. Our unit number is 2499, and I'm going to just kind of give you a rundown first of what our jurisdiction is. We cover the southernmost 7 counties in Illinois, which is about 2,170 square foot mile, roughly the size of the state of Delaware. Our population is 62,000, where Delaware's is, what is that? 1,052,000. So compare the size there in our populations, you can see, you know, quite a different amount of population. In our 7 counties, we only have 25 non-critical hospitals with no labor and delivery in the jurisdiction. The state of Delaware has 19 hospitals and primary care medical facilities, with 6 being trauma 3 centers and 2 being trauma 1 centers. We have 1 Walmart and 3 McDonald's in our whole 7 county jurisdiction. And Shawnee National Forest spans approximately 289,000 acres in southern Illinois, covering parts of all 7 of our counties. I have 36 MRC members. We are rural, and that is the shape of the bottom of Illinois, the 7 counties that Southern 7 covers. So I was going to just start sharing, you know, ways that I engage on a regular basis, and that's with our quarterly siren call down drills. I do those as well as our incident command call down drills, and I really have pretty good participation in those drills. You can see there my fiscal year 25 percentages, and then I did an extra one for building my Stop the Bleed kits. Fourth quarter is tomorrow, so I don't have the results of that yet, but I'm sure it'll be, you know, around 50% or greater. We are doing Stop the Bleed trainings. That's on the strong grants. I got one for round 2 and round 3, and all of that was to buy supplies and do the Stop the Bleed trainings. I offered to take anybody in the MRC that wanted to go to the Remarkable training in Centralia. 1 MRC member did go, and I had a coworker that took the day off to go with me as well. So we had 3 from Southern 7. 1 was an MRC member, also a retired, I think she's a nurse practitioner. We have Weathering the Storm conference with our regional coalition annually, and I always have 2 or 3 people that are MRC members that will attend that conference as well every year. We helped at both eclipses. We set up first aid hydration stations. MRC members volunteered and helped with that. Of course, when we set up pods during the pandemic, I had several MRC people that helped at those pods. And then our health department did 5Ks for 7 years. 1 year we skipped because of COVID. But then we started back up after, you know, the madness of the beginning. We had the following year continued with our 5Ks. And we had first aid hydration stations that the MRC manned for all of those MRCs, or all of those 5Ks. We did one in each county. We called it the Tour de 7, and just did all 7 counties. I do a quarterly newsletter and send it out, trying to engage my MRC members with the community, different activities that we have planned. share different stories that I come across to, hopefully make an impact on them and what they're doing, and excite them. I give them tools and ideas. Any upcoming events or trainings that we have, invite them for that, do little spotlights on them. I went through the ones that sent me information to do that with, but it's probably been a couple of years since I've done that, so that's something that I'll pick up. Again, sometimes some just lightheaded commentary, thanking them for doing whatever comes up that we've had involvement in, and encouraging them to enlist other MRC members and to help in upcoming events. And there on that slide, you can just kind of see, an example of what might be in a newsletter. And this is just a copy of a newsletter. I think this was in 22, when we started having the Wellness on Wheels, just kind of gave them a rundown on that. We were doing Narcan training. So I had a picture of the Narcan and then just a list of the different things that were going to be available on the WOW van. And then the next page was just about a tabletop exercise that we had, talked about it, what was covered, and that it was a success. And then just some preparedness information for the spring. I always, on the back page, do list the birthdays for the 3 months of my MRC members, and then always do some kind of a little poem or something for my members, and then just one final training or something that's coming up at the bottom of that last page. So, like I said, we are doing the Stop the Bleed. This is just kind of what my timeline was. Of course, once it was approved, we had to order things. I made up a test, a pre-test for them to take before the training. And then on the back side of that page was a post-test that they would take after the training so that they could see how much they learn in that training. And of course, then a survey to do and let us know how we did. The little calendar there, all the red dots are the Stop the Bleed dates that we had trained. The last 4 that are in May and June were reschedules for ones that had to be canceled in the previous 3 months because of weather conditions. And this is a copy of the flyer that once it was scheduled, I would send to whoever was hosting that. And this is just our generic one, but in the bottom where it says dates, times, locations available on emergency preparedness page would have the name of where it was going to be, like if it was Pope County High School in the community room, and then the date would be on there. So flyers were made and sent out to them and put out in the surrounding community. And that is just some pictures of different people during the Stop the Bleed trainings. So far, we've had 26 trainings. We've had 208 participants. Like I said, we have 4 more scheduled through June. And I have one this evening. So like I said before, we did a call down drill to get MRC members to help build our kits. And that picture is a picture of what we put in our kits. And we called them a starter kit because we didn't buy the Stop the Bleed kits that you can purchase because they run up to $80. So we knew kind of what was in them. So I made a copy of the instructional guide, and then there's a list of all the things that we put in the kit. And then we just said, this is a good starter kit, add to it, make yours bigger and better. Suggested them putting them in a handled little tote, plastic tote, so that they could have that in their car and ready at any time. I partnered with my regional healthcare coalition, SPARK, which is Shawnee Preparedness and Response Coalition. And these were our trainers, Marty Hagan and Mike Shelton. And they actually did the trainings. They are Stop the Bleed trainers. They did the trainings for me, and then I just, introduced them and did the pre-test, post-test, and survey, picked those up after the training. And they were really good to come and do those trainings for us. So I'm supposed to give you some tips for successful recruitment. My unit is small. I was talking to Jeanette earlier and said, when something happens, they will come out and be there. They don't always volunteer for, building the Stop the Bleed kits or working at the first aid hydration stations. But when we had the pods, we had several MRC members that came out to help with that. And this is just a list of things that I've done and I keep doing. I have a trifold brochure that we put those in the goodie bags on the WOW van. We have the Wellness on Wheel van, and keep them with me. So if, I can ever talk to somebody about it, I've got one to give to them. It's got my contact information on the back. So create a brochure to hand out, or Merkel has a very nice one that they have, and you could somehow maybe put a label or something on it with your contact information. I've done interviews on podcasts, even a radio station in Union County. Anytime you have the opportunity to do that, that's a good way to get information out about your MRC unit. Advertise and hold MRC training workshops. When I first was in this position, that's what we did. I think when I first started, there was like 3 people that, we got through that. So it's something that they advertised in the paper. Local radio stations would do a little tidbit on it for us, and we put flyers out in the community. That was a lot of legwork doing all of that, and not very many people would show up for the trainings. But we got lucky, and we did get a few. So if you're out in the public, the community events, I think that's the best way. Go to the fairs, go to school open houses, any healthcare fairs, and get that information in people's hands. Talk to them, be excited about it. Have your MRCs get involved in everything that you do, and encourage them to invite somebody to come along, just to watch and see what's being done, to maybe, excite them. I have talked to a high school CNA class before, and at the college, Shawnee Community College is right next door to us, and I went to a nursing class there, and I did get one volunteer several years ago that was a nursing student. Just be your MRC unit's biggest fan. Talk about it. Encourage people to get involved. And I always make sure to tell them that it's something that, they volunteer when they're available. It's not something that you have to do. If something's, going on and you're available to help, then you help. But it's not anything that you have to do all the time. And like the college students and high school students, I just kind of let them know that, hey, it looks good on a resume. So anything that you can say to make it sound like a plus, because it is a plus. Volunteering is good for, it's good for your health. It's good for your heart. So just be the biggest fan that you can be for your unit. This is a picture of the newspaper block ad at the top left that was put in the newspaper with pictures of some of my MRC people. I think that was at a 5K. And so we had a training meeting to recruit members in Metropolis, and that was the block ad that was put in the paper. The bottom is a postcard. Direct mailers we've found with different things are a really good way to reach people. On the back of that, you could put, a little snippet about, volunteering is good for your heart or something. And then put contact information, call me and I'll tell you how. However, whatever you can come up with, but direct mailers, if you've got the funds for that, I would encourage direct mailers. We've had really good luck with that. And then the last one is a copy of a flyer that, for those training workshops that we would post in our communities and send out to partners and different businesses in whatever county that we're going to be at. Any questions that I could possibly answer?
Hey, Bobby, first of all, I love that quote you have there of Charles Dickens about if you go back one slide. I love that you guys include that. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. That's awesome. Any questions for Bobby? We are also going to do another Q&A at the end of all the presentations, but if there's any questions you guys want to ask her right now, feel free. Hi, Don.
Hey, Jeanette. Thank
Hi.
you, Bobby, for sharing, and great job on, providing the strong awards to the community and to those 7 counties. And it sounds like 208 participants showed up, which was great. And I was out talking to my gardener for a quick minute, and I don't know if I heard correctly. How many volunteers did you get out of the 208? Anybody?
No, I've had several people ask about it because, I give them a brochure along with the pre-test, post-test, and the survey. And I do a little, what do you call it? Information tidbit, before I present my speakers or my trainers. And I have had about 3 different people talk to me afterwards about that. So I've got their names written down, but I also have, of course, the ones that registered, I've got all of their information, email, address, phone number, but ones that just showed up on the sign-in sheet, I do have their name and address and phone number. So I am going to reach out to everybody and see if I can't, get some more volunteers.
Right. Okay. Well, at least you got something to pull from now, right?
Yes. Yes.
Great job, Bobby. Thank you for taking care of that Southern 7.
Yeah. What a unique area. You've got 7 counties, so rural. Thank you for making it happen and sharing your experiences and activities for retention and some recruitment. Sharon, did you want to jump in? Was there something you wanted to ask? I see you're unmuted.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. I just want to make sure I didn't ignore you. Okay.
No.
Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Let me go ahead and introduce our next speaker. Kelly Urban graduated with an MPH in Global Disaster Management, Humanitarian Relief, and Homeland Security from the University of South Florida in 2021. She has been acting as a public health emergency response coordinator for the DuPage County Health Department for over 3 years and has led their MRC unit since its inception around 2 years ago. Kelly is also going back to school this fall to become a doctor in public health with a focus in emergency preparedness. Welcome, Kelly. I don't see your face right now.
I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Take it away.
All right, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Does this look okay for you all? A
Yes.
thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for the introduction, for having me today. So just a brief overview, I am going to give you a little bit of information about DuPage County, our current recruitment strategies, what has been working for us so far, also identified some of our gaps and challenges, get into our lessons learned, and then some future plans and general tips. So DuPage County, if you're not familiar, we are a small county by geography. So we're a little bit opposite of the South 7. So we're only 328 square miles. However, we are the second largest county in the state by population. So we're just under 1 million. We are located immediately west of Chicago. You can see we're the little red box there in the corner. And just to give a little bit more context for the demographic of our county, we do actually have 30% of our population over the age of 5 speaks a language other than English at home. So our current recruitment strategies that we have been doing essentially since we've started up until now, we do regular social media posts on our health department social media. So that's about twice a month at a minimum. We'll be posting just general recruitment social media posts. I have an example on the next slide. We go to as many tabling events as we can, whether that's specifically a volunteer fair or a volunteer recruitment, or just other general events that we can get out to and spread the word. We also do physical flyers out in the community, libraries, park districts, coffee shops, things like that. We also try to advertise directly to a lot of our community partners. So, of course, hospitals, our healthcare coalition, emergency management, nonprofits, other coalitions that we have here in the county. We do additionally reach out to our colleges and universities. We have a handful in our county, and several of them have very health sciences, public health, emergency management related degrees. So we do specific reach outs to their student affair emails, and then they will push them out to the students. And we also do free community trainings, which we take as an opportunity to share about our MRC. Here's a couple of examples of some of the stuff I talked about in the last slide, right? So I'm actually going to start on the far right side of the screen. This is an example of just a quick social media post that we'll post through the health department, social media, Facebook and LinkedIn primarily, I believe. We may be on X as well. Just short and sweet, and then we include a link to our website as well as a flyer for visuals that helps catch people's attention a little bit more in the social media feed. Here in the middle is an example of a Stop the Bleed flyer. Similar to Bobby, we do try to provide these out in the community as a free training. We also, again, take that as an opportunity to say, hey, thanks so much for coming to our free training today. This is who's putting it on. And we talk a little bit about MRC, and we leave them with a flyer or brochure about our unit. And then on the left is actually version 2 of our flyer for our unit. So the one that you see on the right was our first version. We realized after having it for a while, it was a little just wordy, and we felt like it was maybe not capturing people's attention. So we created the second version, a little bit less words, still all of that important information, and we added a little bit more imagery as well to make it a little bit more palatable for people. So I do want to get into a little bit of data. So what you have on your screen right now is a graph showing the answer to a question we have in our application, which is, how did you hear about us? Our most common one is actually internet search, which is interesting to me because I think it shows that the people that are finding us the most right now are the people that are going out of their way to look for us, which means that maybe we need to do a little bit more work, right? I'm glad they're finding us, and I'm glad these people are looking for volunteering opportunities, but I would also like to be able to get to them more directly rather than just a general internet search. I'm also considering breaking this out a little bit more in the question because I am curious if they are searching, finding us through the Merkle website, finding us through the national MRC website, or like directly finding us from our health department MRC unit's website. Following that, our next most popular one is college and university. So those pushes seem to be successful in getting the word out, our social media, and then just word of mouth with family and friends. However, I do want to translate that into, that's just from the people who are applying, who are actually making it onto the unit, going through that process. When you look at this data, you can see that students went from being our second most top applicants to actually our smallest group. And I think that's maybe not that surprising, right? Students are like, this looks interesting. This would be good for my resume, but then they kind of fall off before they get to the point of orientation, background checks, and things like that. We are 50% medical. That's primarily nurses, but we do have pharmacy tech, social worker, MD. So we have a bit of a variety. 12% students, 21% just general non-medical. And then we do have a good chunk of people that are non-medical, but do have a public health background. All right, so to get into the challenges and some gaps that we've identified in our unit. So a challenge, we are a new unit. So like Jeanette said, we've been around, at least in this iteration, for about 2 years now. We were not around during COVID at all. And I think that's hurt our brand recognition a little bit. Nobody knows who we are. We don't have pre-established relationships as a unit. It's all really starting from scratch. And that is making it a bit difficult to get out there into the community, get our faces known, our name known, especially since, as I think everyone knows, and I know we discussed it for anybody who was at the NACCHO Summit, just the name Medical Reserve Corps is almost a bit of a misnomer. So trying to get over that hurdle to people, if you don't have to have a medical background, it's not military related or anything like that. So we're working on improving that right now, as that has been a challenge for us. Similarly, volunteering opportunities, we'll have a few months where we have a lot of wonderful opportunities for our volunteers, and then we'll have some slow months just because we're new, we're still building up our partnerships. So working to continue to expand our opportunities so we're able to keep our volunteers engaged. Another challenge is competing volunteer organizations. I want to say that with quotation marks because I don't want to be in competition with other organizations. There's a lot of people that do a lot of great work in our county, and that's so wonderful. But I think that because we're new, a lot of these other organizations have been around for so long, they're more well established and they have a lot of wonderful people working for them, that there's a less availability for our unit. So I think just trying to figure out where we fit in within the environment that's already here and doing the good work in the county. And then final challenge is this is stability of student volunteers. So as you kind of saw, even from the data of the applications to the people that are actually on the unit, you lose people easily from or that are students. They graduate, they lose interest, they move. So it's a really great resource for us to have those universities in our county, but they're not the most stable of volunteers. For gaps, so our number one outside of English spoken language in the county is Spanish, but we don't really have any Spanish speaking volunteers in our unit. We actually have 9 different languages in our unit, which is only about 25 volunteers, which is amazing and wonderful, absolutely beneficial. But we want our unit to accurately reflect the population of our community because that will make it easier for us to get out there and assist. So we're really trying to target more directly as the Spanish-speaking population to expand our volunteer unit. Also, like I said, we are a large county by population, almost 1 million people. We only have about 25 volunteers. So looking to continue to expand our unit so we can help not only in the blue sky times, but when there's emergencies, we have a good pool of volunteers to pull from. And then finally, availability and interest to volunteer. So of those 25, a majority of them are actually either full-time students or full-time career people, which is wonderful, but that does make their availability a little low. So even when we do have those volunteer opportunities, it can be hard for us to get volunteers to sign up, or more than even just 1 or 2 volunteers. So that's something that I'm hoping will be alleviated once we're able to expand our unit. So some lessons learned. Our initial outreach strategies were just too limited. We were pretty much just doing social media posts and the occasional reach out to partners. That was not enough. Like I said, we don't have that standard brand recognition in the county. We really had to do more work than that. So we've been expanding it more. Some of the things I had already mentioned. So those community trainings, getting into more of it with our partners and coalitions, physical flyers around the county, etc. Our messaging. So it kind of ties into the version 1, version 2 of that flyer. We were just too wordy at the beginning because we didn't really have specific examples to fall back on. So it was just defining what MRC is rather than defining what DCHD MRC is. So as we've progressed and we have experience to pull from, we've really streamlined our messaging. Brand recognition, I've talked about that a little bit already. So we're working to get our name out there more and more and start getting recognized, have people think of us when they need us. And then our original onboarding process was too intensive. We were doing phone interviews with everyone, then we were doing orientation, then we were doing background check, and then the additional online trainings. Or we were doing background check first, I apologize. So the phone interview, we would lose a lot of people before we even got to that. We would do background checks on people, but then they wouldn't come to orientation. So we've really kind of flipped things around. We've dropped the phone interview. We do in-person orientation first. Once they've attended that, then we do the background check. And that's really helped us to save money and limit time waste both on our part and potential volunteer parts. Our future recruitment strategy. So we want to expand our free community training offerings. Like Bobby, we do offer free Stop the Bleed trainings, which is great, but there are actually several other organizations within our county that are doing that. So we've recently expanded our offerings. We now are partnering with our DuPage Narcan program that we have at the health department to offer Narcan training. We're often able to provide free Narcan at those trainings as well. Additionally, we offer hands-only CPR. We will be offering free CPR classes when funding permits. We just don't have the funding at the moment. So we can do hands-only CPR or non-certified CPR classes. So you get all the knowledge, just not the certification. And then we also do emergency preparedness training. So just generally preparedness for you and your family. We're hoping to partner with more organizations and identify additional brand recognition opportunities since those are some of our biggest gaps. We did recently we purchased this out of our Operational Readiness Award, DCHD MRC bookmarks. Got them in this week, actually. So pretty excited about that. Hoping to put them out around the county as well, libraries, bookstores, coffee shops, things like that. So it's not just a flyer that somebody's going to take and then throw away. They'll take it, they'll use it, and then maybe at a later time, they're like, oh, wait, actually, I would like to volunteer with this unit. And we would love to do more advertising locally. So it sounds like Bobby actually does a really great job of this podcast, radio. That's so cool. I would love for our unit to get to that at some point. So if time, funding, and experience allows, social media ads, radio, local newspapers, things like that, I think would be a great opportunity for us to expand our recruitment. And then finally, just some general tips for recruitment. I think brand recognition is really a big thing. I think everybody knows Red Cross. Even CERT's pretty well known within this field. I think MRC is the one that is least well known, at least in our area. So that's a big thing, is go to those events, put your logo on everything that you're doing, get your name out there. Diversify your recruitment strategy. So do the online, do the community events, do the flyer pass outs, do everything that you can think of, because each strategy you do is going to hit a different group of people. And then partnerships. I think this is a really great way to really do all of these other things. It can be really hard to start these efforts on your own, to host all of these community events or participate in fairs on your own. So if you have those partnerships, they know that they can reach out to you for help. You know that you can reach out to them. If you see an event you think you would like to partner with them on, I think that is very crucial. And then find your niche. So like I said, we have a lot of community organizations that are already doing a lot of great work in our county. So where do we fit in? Is there something that you can prioritize in your county if you're dealing with those same kind of competitive things? What are you good at? Where can you fit in? And then make onboarding and volunteer membership accessible. So make sure it's easy for them to apply, easy for them to onboard. And then, yes, make sure they're engaged and they're continuously learning, but maybe have a lower threshold. There's some organizations that require people to do shift work every single week. That's not necessarily going to be attainable for a lot of the volunteers. So if you make it more once a quarter, a couple times a year, you will ideally be able to recruit more volunteers because it won't feel too intimidating for them. And then finally, just thank you for your time. If you have any questions, of course, we're going to have a Q&A, but you are more than welcome to also email me. That is our unit email. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was fantastic. I love the bookmark idea. I don't think I've seen or heard of that idea in the years that I've been doing this. So I love that innovative idea. And to everybody on the call, I know there's seasoned leaders and there's either new units or new coordinators to the MRCs. I hope that this was helpful in showcasing very two distinct areas. We've got rural, we've got more urban or suburban, we've got large geography, we've got a smaller geography. Both have challenges and both have some resources and how they're making the most of it. So before we move on to my presentation, any questions for Kelly? We'll also do a Q&A after my presentation about toolkits. Dawn.
Oh, great job, Kelly. Well, I don't know, maybe I missed this part. With the CPR, and you said you needed funding. Just out of curiosity, didn't see it in the presentation. Maybe I missed it. The Strong Award, were you able to use that for possibly a future CPR course? Or if we get the extension, do you think that might be possible?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually used some funding from Strong Award to get one of our volunteers certified as a CPR instructor. It's very expensive, so that was super helpful. So now we have somebody outside of myself that is a certified instructor on the unit. So now we have people that can do hands-only CPR, can do the non-certified, and then when funding allows, maybe through other options or even through our regular grants, we'll be ready to go.
Well, great. I'm glad you got a trainer. That's wonderful to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn. And for everybody on the call, just as a reminder, there are some resources that we have, and I say we on behalf of Merkle using the MRC Strong Grants, have developed to be able to help you. So if you don't have a digital copy of the MRC brochure and you would like to have a copy, please let me know. We also translated the MRC brochure. I think a lot of you received a pack of 100 or maybe ordered more from us, so you should have received those. We have digital copies of translated brochures into 6 languages. Two Chinese, of course, I'm blanking on the two, Mandarin and Cantonese. I apologize. We have Spanish, Filipino or Tagalog, French, and Polish. So if those are some populations that you have and you want to get to and target in your community, let me know if you want a digital copy of that. I thought that we had posted it in the website and I just kind of quickly went through and I didn't easily find it. So if you didn't easily find it yourself and you want me to send it to you, please let me know. And we might have some other things that would be helpful to you. So just let me know if there's something you might need to help you with your recruitment and retention efforts. I'm happy to be there for you guys. Let me go ahead and move on to a very brief recruitment toolkit announcement that we wanted to let you know. Just hot off the presses, very recently, we launched a digital toolkit for the college youth. And let me let you know, there's actually 2 that we were working on. Using the Strong Grant, Merkle wanted to have 2 created to target the college youth and also healthcare professionals. And so we felt that that was something we heard a lot from you, that you have, 30s and above, a lot of senior folks for some of you, and you're trying to get to that college age group. maybe you don't have a college in your campus, in your community necessarily, but there's, possible ways to get to them, maybe a technical school, or you can even work with HOSA, which is the Healthcare Occupation Students of America. And as long as they turn 18, you can certainly recruit them. And then for the healthcare professionals, we are targeting the licensed folks. So including those in medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, allied health, and behavioral health. So that one is upcoming. We just finished the college one, and that's what I'd like to show you about. All of these digital toolkits will include a variety of resources, including FAQs, social media posts that you can just cut and paste and put it into your own Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is that you use for social media. We also give you email templates and other flyers. Let me show you the College Digital Toolkit. There's 6 items in this toolkit for you. One is a flyer that's for you to talk about why recruit college students. Now, again, if there's no colleges around you, you might have to be a little creative about this one, going to different types of school, technical schools. But you still have them in your population. So we have some FAQs for you to help promote that. We give you an email template that you can just add your local unit. So everything in yellow is something that you can customize, and then just cut and paste this and send it to whomever, maybe in schools, that you could ask for an audience with. We send you something called Just the Facts, the MRC program in Illinois. And it's a 2-page flyer that just talks about all the reasons that you would want to join the Medical Reserve Corps. And again, you can customize this with your own email address, or I'm sorry, your own website for your MRC, change the QR code, etc. Right now it goes to the MRC Illinois website. We have a 2-page FAQ of questions about the typical questions that people ask about the Medical Reserve Corps. As Kelly said, and we've heard this for all the years I've been in MRC, which is since 2009, it has been a misnomer. And so we always have to fight that knowledge, or that notion that you have to be medical. So hopefully this will help to address it, and whether they're eligible and how much time do they have to commit. These are all the standard questions. We put it into a 2-pager for you. And then we give you a 1-page flyer that you can use if you want to distribute these in different organizations or partners in your community. Feel free to do that. And again, this is all customizable. The last thing is actually a 6-page. I only show the first 4 because I was running out of space, and I figured you wouldn't be able to see any detail if I make it any smaller. But as you can see, these are cut and paste, ready to go social media posts with graphics if you want to use this. The graphics will target the younger population. So we made sure that those graphics can speak to them. I apologize. This looks like it was a duplicate. But you get the message, and this will be in the toolkit as well for you to use. And then that's really it. Stay tuned for the Healthcare Digital Toolkit. That should be done by the end of this month, and then we'll package it up for you and send it out. And we'll also put it into the website so you can download it. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you guys so much for your time. Any questions for me, for any of the presenters? So grateful for Kelly and Bobby. Okay, where do you get the toolkits? We are not yet ready to share them. We want to package them together, but I will talk to the board and get direction on whether they want to send it individually. I believe they wanted to send it together. Okay, thank you to the NIFIC region for the book. Thank you, Kelly. You're giving the props. Do you charge for the class? Okay, no charge for the STB trainings. And I think your question, Michael, about the how many students per the Stop to Bleed class was answered by Mary. Thank you, Mary. Any other questions that we didn't get to for Bobby, Kelly, or myself? Yes, Don.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize.
No, but I wrote down a few things during Kelly's, but blue skies. For those that were not at the in San Antonio for the NACHO conference. That was the new buzzword that was going around. That was my first time hearing it, blue skies, which means, downtime. Everything is good.
Yes.
And just wanted to make a note of that. Thank you for mentioning that. What else? No, I also want to thank ISC Jeanette, Tandez Johnson, as well as Bethany Albrecht for taking on this challenge of handling this strong award. You cannot give enough shout outs to Merkel for making sure all of this toolkits, all the units that just presented today throughout the past 2 years, because as you know, it's May 15th. We're coming down to the end. So they say, we don't know, but supposedly, so we have to plan accordingly. That's what we do, be prepared. But we're coming down to the end. And I know for all of us, specifically in the state of Illinois, I'm not sure how well the other states have done with this grant and with all the changes towards the beginning of this year and up until the end date. Illinois is rocking it out. We couldn't have done it without ISC, without Merkel, and without each of you. Even if you started yesterday, we thank you. So more to come on that. But thank you again, Jeanette, for what you all have done.
Thank you, Dawn. And thank you for those words. You're absolutely right. For any of you that just started recently, it's not too late to use some of the funds. We were really hoping to do more. Now, we have done a really great job spending down the grant. I actually heard another state still had $1 million to use. So if this grant truly ends on May 30th, which was what it was originally set to close by, we've done a really good job. We were just hoping to use a little bit more to give you more resources and more trainings and volunteer trainings. But thank you for those words. And you reminded me, Dawn, we just sent out the main newsletter, and I apologize that it was late. We were holding on, hoping that this week we would hear about the extension announcement. And when they didn't give it by yesterday, we had to call it and go ahead and send out the newsletter. If you were asking or wondering about any deadline dates, it's in the newsletter. And then if there's something that I did not include in there and you are wondering about it, please feel free to reach out. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And if we don't chat tomorrow, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all. Bye.